Hello, my friend. Okay, so today is another day. It is August 9th. We're going to be doing our Jesus Calling Bible study here. So the three portions of scripture that we're going to be in today is Isaiah 61:10, 2 Corinthians 5:21, and Ephesians 4:22 and 24. So first the Isaiah verses. And it was Isaiah 61:10. And I've got my Bible right down here. And it says, ooh, I like this one so much. I even have it highlighted in my Bible. Or not highlighted, but I've got a little line next to it. So it's showing, hey, this is an important verse. Read this. So it says, "For I delight greatly in the Lord. My soul rejoices in my God. For he has clothed me with garments of salvation, and arrayed me in a robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom adorns his head like a priest, and as a bride adorns herself with jewels." He has clothed me with garments of salvation. Oh, of all the garments to be clothed with, garments of salvation, yeah, I'll take that, for sure. And then 2 Corinthians 5:21. And it says, let's see here, "God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God." There's that righteousness again. And the interesting thing about that is that it says, God made him who had no sin, we have sin, to be sin. So not just made him to have sin or made him to take on our sin, but for that moment, he was so full of sin, he was sin. He was sin. But to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. So he becomes sin and we become righteousness. In that verse, it doesn't say, oh my gosh, my brain is exploding right now. It doesn't say we have sin and he has sin and we have righteousness. But he becomes sin and we become righteousness. I want to spend more time in that. I want to look up what those words mean in the original translation and see what that transliteration for us really means. Because I have a feeling God totally intentionally picks his words. Loved and beloved are very different things. So I want to look that up. Anyway, okay, sorry, I'll do that offline. And then Ephesians 4:22 and 24, it says, "You were taught with regard to your former ways of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds." You know, when we spoke, you talked a lot about you don't know what's true, and it's like your mind is kind of confused. Hey, hashtag relatable. So I'm not trying to make this all about you, and I'm certainly not trying to say, it's not about you, it's about me, and trying to turn it that way. But I just don't want to leave you out on that island. But here when it says, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on a new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. I like the new self because when I look at who Laura Nelson was and who Laura Nelson is, it's very different. Even the things that are similar are purer and cleaner, and in the sin side of me that still remains is convicted. I don't sin willfully and without that. Now why? Get it together, Laura. So new self for sure. Okay, so now in Jesus Calling it says, "Wear my robe of righteousness with ease. I custom made it for you to cover you from head to toe. Your nose doesn't stick out and neither does your pinky toe. The price I paid for this covering was astronomical, my own blood. You could never purchase such a royal garment, no matter how hard you worked. Sometimes you forget that my righteousness is a gift, and you feel ill at ease in your regal robe. I weep when I see you squirming under the velvety fabric as if it were made of scratchy sackcloth. And sackcloth is something you put on when you're in mourning. So that, even this right here, scratchy sackcloth. Because sometimes that righteousness, we want to sin. It's our carnal nature to want to give into some of that. And so we're like, oh, this righteous robe is uncomfortable. Is it? No, it's not. I want you to trust me enough to realize your privileged position in my kingdom. Relax in the luxuriant folds of your magnificent robe. Keep your eyes on me as you practice walking in this garment of salvation. When your behavior is unfitting for one in my kingdom, do not try to throw off your royal robe. Instead, throw off unrighteous behavior. Then you'll be able to feel at ease in the glorious garment, enjoying the gift I fashioned for you before the foundation of the world. So before Genesis 1:1, he had your garment set aside, prepared, and ready and waiting for you. For me? That's awesome. Okay, my friend, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.